Hi everybody, welcome back to the Golden People TGP podcast, where we talk about biracial and multiracial issues that are affecting our community as a whole and individually, so we can come to some sort of a resolution. I see that our community is lacking in support. We don't have that many channels or pages or social media sites that are pro-multiracial, pro-biracial. I see a lot that are anti-multiracial, anti-light skin, anti-biracial channels that get tons of views and clicks and subscribers because it seems to be sort of a thing now that you need to find somebody to hate and you need somebody to blame, and that's become a thing now. The weird thing about it, in my journey as being a person that's mixed, I was always trying to surround myself with positive people that are just like myself, that are mixed. We have a lot in common, just as a support group, because I know that in the real world, we don't have that so much. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about people that are mixed. I think that people don't understand us. I think there's a huge group of detractors, is what I'm going to call them, detractors, who are unambiguous, who are leading this campaign, the smear campaign, as somebody said, to just totally try to discredit who we are, specifically light-skinned men, mixed men, and also I believe the women get it even worse. I think women, the light-skinned women, get it the worst. Not just because they're mixed, but it's because they're light-skinned with the long hair. It's that combination of having all the attributes that people have determined are beautiful, collectively thinking that this is beautiful. They become the enemy of unambiguous people, and then they become the brunt of their disdain, if I can put it that way, but really at the end of the day, it's called envy and jealousy. That's what it boils down to be. And I used to not realize how bad it was, because I was kind of insulated with my friends, my specific friends that I would hang out with, and the places that I would go to. I didn't have a lot of detractors there. There was little to no detractors in the spaces that I went to. So I was always welcomed. I was always, accepted. I didn't have that whole, oh my God, I don't belong feeling. Until recently, I guess since the pandemic, we have more time to look at videos, more time to analyze things. And what I've realized is that I was a light-skinned savior and didn't even know it. I was championing the unambiguous people's, I was championing their issues, and I was trying to be supportive of it, and I was trying to really be there for them, thinking that I could do something to change America and what America thought about them. And all the while that I was doing that, I was getting stabbed in the back, basically. Someone who I thought was a good associate, not a friend, but at least an associate, that I was trying to assist, who was an unambiguous person, basically was lying on me, making up stories, spreading rumors, just, typical immature things that you do when you don't know any better. I was like, when I heard the information from another source that this person had started making fun of me and talking about me, I confronted him. I said, I heard that you said from a good source that you thought that I was, that I'm stuck up, or I think that the world owes me something. I don't know. It was a long list of things that he said, and that I was stupid enough to help you, and that that you're playing me, basically. And he said he didn't say that. I said, well, this is your friend. Or somebody that you hang out with and you know very well, and so why would that person just make up a story? And he said something to the effect of, first he said it was a lie that the person had lied on. Then he said, it doesn't really matter. You're not even black, so you really shouldn't be concerned with what's happening in the black community. That's how it ended, really. And I was like, well, thank you for being honest, and I will gladly decline any other type of invitations to rallies or support anything that you have on your agenda. I don't want to be a part of it. Thanks, but no thanks. But I just felt like after we had that conversation, I was like, wow. He said that I should not have anything to do with the black community because I'm not really black. I'm mixed, and I should just deal with my own issues. I said, well, my issues have been unambiguous people trying to stop me from getting to where I need to go. That's the problem. And I'm thinking if I help in your cause, then maybe that will smooth out whatever issues you have with us. I thought that would be like a 2-for-1 deal, but it didn't work out that way. It is a deep-rooted hatred that they have for biracial and mixed people that happen to be light-skinned. I think they have issues with the darker-skinned ones too, but it's a little different. I think whenever you hear any type of meme or you see any type of video compilation, it's always light skin. Those are the word. That's the word that they use. Light skin, and then it's something derogatory after that. And then they have this huge video compilation that's 20, 30 minutes of people pretending to be light skinned and then making fun of us. And I did my research, as I've said before. I sat down and watched hundreds of videos of people making fun of light-skinned men and light-skinned women, what they think we are like. And it wasn't just one channel. These are multiple channels on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Patreon. It goes on and on and on and on. Facebook. And I was thinking, why? Why is there so much of this negative energy coming from unambiguous people? I knew that there was discourse. I knew that. I mean, I was very well aware of that, but I didn't think it was so deep and so much rage. Because if you really don't like people, you don't really talk about them. I know I wouldn't talk about somebody if I didn't like them. If I don't like someone, I never speak their name. I really don't. I don't even pay attention to what you're doing if I don't like you. I don't waste my time because life is short. I don't have time to find out what you're doing or who you're doing it with. I have my own business to deal with. So I never really waste my time with people who I don't really like. So my question is to the unambiguous community, why are you investing thousands of hours instead of working on yourself, complaining about the light-skinned people? What are we doing to you personally that you need to make thousands of videos about us if you don't like us? So my analysis of what I saw was, it's not that you don't like us, you want to be us. And you're trying to figure out how to replace us. That's what's been happening. Because I've seen so many pictures of unambiguous people changing their hair color and their hair texture, wearing wigs and weaves, or dyeing their hair blonde, and putting in gels and creams and relaxers to try to look like they have quote-unquote good hair, and contact lenses to make themselves look mixed. Literally. The people that said that they didn't like mixed people are trying to look mixed. I'll look that up online. I'm like, there's so much information at the fingertips. Why not just Google it and see what's going on? Thousands of pictures come up. Women wearing blonde hair, wearing the hair texture that a lot of mixed people have, which is that 3C, 3B hair, loose curl texture. Wearing foundation that's 3 to 4 to 5 shades way lighter than their own skin tone. Bleaching. And I was like, I did research on the bleaching. I was like, who's buying all this bleach? Bleaching their skin. It's dark-skinned people. I'm like, oh my God. There's documentaries about people bleaching their skin on different islands and different, it's a lot of it comes from the Caribbean. A lot of that Caribbean islands bleach their skin. Because what they know about America and what they see when Americans come to their island is usually mixed people and white people. That's what they're going to mostly see. And I think that's the standard of beauty for them as well. And they want that aesthetic, And that's how I see it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I see a lot of those island people bleaching their skin, trying to look mixed. And a lot of them are mixed. A lot of people from the Caribbean are mixed, but I think the darker skinned ones have a complex. There's like this complex where they themselves put mixed people on an altar and they worship them. Their sense of beauty is a mixed person. And I was like, they're buying a lot of these bleaching agents and creams and stuff like that, and it's become a way of life for them. And I just like, wow. So the people that are here in America that claim that they don't like light-skinned people, they're buying the same bleaches too. They're buying all that bleaching cream as well. And I'm like, if you don't like us, why are you trying to be like us? Why are you trying to look like us? They have to answer that question for themselves. I know why. It's because they don't like what they see. They do not like themselves deeply. It's not just a surface thing. It's deep down inside. They don't like themselves. A lot of them don't. I'm not saying they all do, but there's enough of them where you can see that there's this anger and there's the jealousy thing. It keeps popping up. It's the common denominator. If it didn't exist, it wouldn't pop up so many times. So I don't want people to be jealous of me. I really don't. I like everyone. I like people of all shades and creeds and colors. I'm very inclusive that way. But I find that unambiguous people, most of them, aren't very accepting of mixed people. It's this whole thing of they believe that we have it so much better. And in some ways, probably we do. I'm not going to deny that there's not privilege, because there is. But you know what the privilege comes from? It comes from the attitude, how you conduct yourself in the world. It's really not as much about just the looks. It's what's inside. If I have good manners and I can go somewhere and I can interact with a lot of variety of people from different walks of life, I'm more likable. But if you come in the room and you have the nasty attitude and you think somebody owes you something and you're always pulling that black card out, like, you didn't give me this because I'm black, then you're probably going to get rejected much quicker, because they see you as more of a mean-spirited person. You have bad intentions. Now, I did have a situation that happened to me. Now that I was thinking about a lot of my past situations that popped up and occurrences that popped up that dealt with race. One in particular was when I went to a restaurant, and I come into the restaurant and I hear a lot of just loud talking. And this particular restaurant is very quiet. It's a very it's an upscale restaurant, and you have to dress nice to go in there. You can't just wear jeans and t-shirts because they can deny you service, and they tell you dress appropriately to come in there. So I'm dressed very, appropriately, and I hear all this like real loud talking. I'm like, what? And in my mind, I said, I'm not going to make a scene and turn around like, what the heck? But I just looked, and I could see the reflection in the glass that it was 5 guys sitting at a table speaking very loudly. And those 5 guys were unambiguous, dark-skinned men. And my first thought was, maybe they're upset about something that happened at the restaurant. I wonder what happened. And I listened to the conversation, and they weren't talking about anything in particular, but like random people and what happened that day, or how their day was going, or something like that, something of that nature. So I was like, okay, so why are they, and I'm thinking, why are they so loud? And people around them, I could see they were uncomfortable with the loud talking. And as soon as I came in, a waiter came in and escorted me to a table and said, may I take your order? Let me know when I can take your order. And we were talking for a little while, and I was asking him, what would you recommend? And then I heard from that loud table, one of the guys goes, wow, that waiter rushed over and took him and sat him down right away. How? That he didn't do that for us? That's what he said. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe that's why they were upset. Maybe that's what caused them to start speaking loudly. Maybe they were getting poor service. And then he said, oh, I guess you have to be high yellow, he said, oh, I guess you have to be yellow or white to get good service. I'm thinking, wow, okay, now he's talking about me. Okay. I said, my thing, this is what I've learned. Don't look at the person that is trying to bait you into a fight. Ignore them, pretend they don't exist, and go about your business. So I sat there and I just started going through my phone, checking emails. And the waiter's like, okay. I said, well, can I make my order to go? Because I could hear them talking about me and getting loud and talking about the waiter. He said, oh, I understand, no problem. And I said, I just want to I said, may I have a drink? And I ordered a drink. And he said, sure, no problem. And then so he went back, and they said something like, I wonder how fast he's going to get his food. We're still waiting. We've been here for like 20-something minutes, and we still haven't gotten our food. And of course, everybody the staff can hear them, the waiters can hear them, and they're just like looking at these people like, are you kidding me? Nobody else is complaining but that you guys, And if you have an issue, just ask somebody to come over and they'll resolve the issue with you. Yelling and screaming is not going to get you any kind of service, like that. They're going to probably kick you out. If anything, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm sitting there waiting for my drink, and the guy comes back within about a minute and a half or less. It was like 1, 2, 3. He was in and out. He came out pretty quickly, and I was very impressed by that. And I got my drink, and he's like, see, the guy from the table, see, look, he already has his drink. Oh my God, you see that? These people are racist. They brought that Hispanic guy his drink, and oh God, and we haven't even got our drinks yet. Okay, so they're already assuming I'm Hispanic without even knowing what my ethnicity is, So I'm just sitting there. I didn't say nothing. I didn't smile. I didn't look over there. I could see him from the reflection of the window, and then making little comments and talking about how I was dressed, and saying how something didn't match or something like that. Something I had on that didn't match. So they were trying to be even more personal in their attack, and they were trying to get me to say something. So I'm waiting for drinking my drink, and I just kept looking at my emails, and then within about 12, 13 minutes, my order came to my table, was already wrapped up to go, and I thanked the waiter, gave him a tip, and as I was walking out, the couple of guys that were sitting at the table called me something, the MF word. The MF word. that MF better run. That MF better run. He better get out of here. Because if he says something, I'll kick his ass. I'm thinking, now how did it get from me sitting down, ordering food, and walking out, a total of maybe 15 minutes? And how did that turn into you're going to kick my ass when I didn't say a word to you? I didn't even look in your direction. I didn't make any type of gestures. I just quietly walked out after I thanked the waiter and paid the waiter. And that's the type of rage that people are walking around with. And I'm thinking, had I said something, I probably would have gotten jumped if I would have said something. Or I would have got verbally assaulted even more face to face. They would probably came over to my table and just totally went off on me. But the hostility was so much so that I'm like, wow, they're actually upset. They're in a rage, like they wanted to get up and walk outside and have a confrontation. And I will never forget that. And then I just started thinking of other things that happened, but that one stood out because that was the most recent one that happened before the pandemic. And I just thought, wow, all I did was walk in, nicely dressed, looking very, very appropriate for that venue. I was served quickly. I had manners. I treated the staff there nicely. I gave the waiter a tip, and I quietly thanked them and walked out. I didn't make a scene. But I was vilified by the unambiguous monoracial people at the table. And these are 5 big guys looking for trouble. And I started thinking about just little other things that happened in the past. And I said, this is an ongoing theme. This is an ongoing theme. A biracial person or multiracial person enters a space where there's monoracial, unambiguous people there, and they have to play the quiet one. You have to be quiet. You can't make a scene. You can't be too boisterous. You can't be too pretty. You can't be too cute or handsome, because that's going to get them angry. That's going to make them jealous. That's going to get them to come over to you and start to try to mess you up, however that will be. Or they'll try to start an argument with you or a fight with you. And it has happened multiple times. This is not the first time. So that's how I knew how to really deal with them. But I said, you know what? This is something this has been going on. And I can only imagine how many people have gone through the exact same thing I've gone through. And I've been reading people's responses on different channels. And this one lady was talking about how she was told not to wear her hair down because she had very long hair. And she had the 3B, 3C type hair, which is a silky, curly hair. And that these women that worked at her company would immediately hate her. And that she should wear a wig, or she should wear her hair up and play down her beauty. And she said she did it for a little while, and then one day she just wore her hair down, and she started to get women reporting her falsely, saying she said this, she did that, to try to get her fired. And I was like, wow. I said, you had the same situation, huh? I said, I mean, I've seen this before. I've had situations kind of similar to that. And it's really sad. And you have to ask, what could be the reason? Why would they hate you just right off the bat? You didn't say anything to them bad. You smiled. You were professional. You treated everybody with respect, but you still had this core group of women who didn't like you because you have pretty hair and you have pretty features. So we have colorists and featurists all in the same group. And I was like, wow, that's pretty sad. And she said she had to deal with it until she found another. I think she's trying to look for another job now, but she wanted to ask, what can she do? And I'm like, well, you might want to move on, and you might want to find a better career for yourself and not be around that type of environment. Try to find a career where there's not going to be that environment, if that's possible. And maybe you can sue them. Maybe you can sue that company for harassment. But I just felt like that's something that has been happening for quite some time to a lot of women. And I think it's worse for the women. I think women tend to get vilified and bashed worse than the men because we live in a misogynistic society. America has shown that women aren't their priority. And I think that when you are a woman of color that is mixed and you're attractive, you're going to have to deal with a lot of envy and jealousy. And I've always said jealous people and envious people are dangerous. You can't just take it up, oh, they're just jealous. Oh, yeah, they're jealous, but they're also people that are violent, and they will do things to you and try to hurt you if you're not careful. I said, don't take it lightly. Really look at your environment and see, is this job or career worth me getting hurt for? And I don't think it is. I think there's enough spaces where you can find something better than that. There's always something better. That's what you should do. Be in a space that's safe. You don't need to be around that negative energy because it's usually going to turn violent. Usually. So, and then she was like, well, she's half, I think she's Latina. She's half black, half Latina. And usually you would think like, well, you know, most Latinos have a great reputation as being hard workers. They're extremely respectful. They have great manners. And you would just think that people would not bother her. And she made a good point. She said, you know what? I thought that too. But if you look at how they treat people like Cardi B, who's, you know, part black and part Latina, they're dragging her so much as if they're getting paid to do it, quote unquote. I'm like, you know what? That's true. If you're mixed with black or have one drop of black blood in you, the black community, monoracial, unambiguous people will drag you to the ends of the earth just because they want you to feel bad about having black in you. And that's something I did notice. I said, yep, that's true. And the thing about being biracial, for me, is that you have one parent that's white, one parent that's black, and you look mixed. You don't look 100% black, you don't look 100% white. You're somewhere in the middle, and people can tell, oh, you're mixed with something. What are you? You know, then you always have to explain who you are and where you come from and all this stuff. And a lot of the bashing, I noticed that it's not something new when it comes to biracial, coming from a monoracial, unambiguous person. Those people have been doing this since slavery. Really, seriously, in America, since slavery. The difference between the light-skinned slave and the dark-skinned slave is the dark-skinned slave was out in the field, the light-skinned slave was in the house, and usually a lot of the mixed slaves were educated. They would get sent to school, and they would, you know, get to get an education. Many of them didn't have to do any real work. You know, sometimes they were put on an estate, and they were given a house, and they were given land. If they were white passing, they would have slaves themselves. So a lot of that created resentment and hatred between the two factions, light and dark. So you can thank racist slave masters for that. So it has nothing to do with biracial people. I think that the hatred that monoracial, unambiguous people have is displaced aggression. You should be angry at the racist, not the product of racism, which is a union between a black person and a white person back in the day. And you shouldn't be mad at the people who made a choice to be together in today's society who are mixed. They are not your issue or your problem. If you really think that we are a problem, we're not. Now, I was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Nene Leakes and Claudia Jordan had this big fight, verbal confrontation, and Nene brought up that Claudia is mixed, and I want you guys to listen to this.
This hair breed is not in Atlanta. They ain't looking for you.
Oh, you don't like half breeds?
Because you're a whore. You done slept with everybody. They don't want you. Your clit has left your body.
So this has been going on even on TV, on huge platforms where it's, I guess this show is, isn't this syndicated show? So you can see it all over the world. So I say when people hear stuff like that and see stuff like that, they believe that bullying light-skinned people or mixed people is okay. Oh, that's what we're supposed to do. If we're dark-skinned, we're supposed to bully the light-skinned people, and they think that's the norm, and it's not. Because if you go to other countries like South Africa, mixed people are called colored. They're their own race. They're not considered black and they're not considered white. They're called colored in South Africa. If you go to the United Kingdom, mixed people are called colored as well, or half caste. I guess that's a derogatory name, but they're considered their own race. They're mixed, biracial. I think here in America is one of the main places where people don't want you to identify as being mixed. They don't want it to be its separate race when it is. We're hybrid. We are two different races or more than two different races. So it's not the same. You can't put us in one category. How dare you? Who are you to tell me what I am? That's what I'm really passionate about. I don't like that. That's why I have created this podcast and did the channels and all this stuff, because I'm really tired of it. And I'm really at the point of what can we do to resolve the issue and get our community where it needs to be. And what we need to be able to do is define ourselves the way we see fit. If we want to call ourselves the golden people, then so be it. But it has to be a collective effort, and it has to be put on forms that golden means that you're mixed with black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever. As long as you're mixed and you're golden, then you're golden. That's a good category as far as I'm concerned. I've heard the word golden for a very long time. I like the name, but I think we should have an open forum to talk about what names could we call ourselves. What would you like to hear? Do you like the word mixed or biracial? Do you think that's a limiting term, that it's not specific enough? Let me see, I heard another word that sounded pretty good. Hybrid race, is that a good name for us? A hybrid, or Creole, which is a term that I think is respectful. Creole does mean mixed. It's a French term to mean mixed. It's not derogatory. Mestizo, that's another name that I believe is respectable. It was a name that they used back in 1275, way before slavery ever occurred. And it was between consenting adults who were mixing back way before any type of slavery happened. They wanted to be with somebody else of another race, and it was acceptable, and they called them mestizo. So there's a lot of names that I have heard from the past, and there's names that we can create now, since we are a new generation. We're in the 21st century, and I would like it to be a legacy that's left for not only us, but for our families and their families and the families after that. I think they need something to be a part of. It shouldn't be that 100 years from now they still don't know who we are. That it shouldn't happen. And I was talking also about how history has been taken away from us, that biracial and mixed history has been taken away from us, and it's called either it's white history or it's black history. But there's no such thing as biracial history or multiracial history or mixed history. There's not. And I think that's wrong. I think we have to take that back and have a lot of these history books rewritten, because just the thing that really pisses me off is when Barack Obama became president, and I was saying, isn't it wonderful that we have a biracial president? And people were saying, oh, he's not biracial, he's black. He's the first black president. And I'm thinking, well, that would be wonderful if he was black, but he's biracial. He's mixed. So we have the first mixed president, and Kamala Harris is mixed. So why are they calling these people black when they're not? See, that's the problem. If you do not stand up for yourself, Other people will take hold of your destiny and your legacy and make it their own. And I'm tired of that. That's something that needs to change. There needs to be some respect on our name. There needs to be a legacy in our name with our people that have achieved greatness and worked extremely hard to get there. Nobody gave it to them because they're light skinned. Nobody gave it to them because they have silky hair. They had to go to school, get educated. They had to prove themselves in order to hold the position that they have. Period. I'm very passionate about this. So that's something I really would love to be a part of, changing history, rewriting it. Also, the bullying on YouTube and the bullying on Twitter, TikTok, etc., on social media, it's gotten way out of hand. It's way too far gone. I feel that it's become too normal for people to bully people online, that is a normal thing to do, specifically biracial mixed people. I'm tired of it. It's gotten to a point where I am writing these different institutions to get some of the rules and laws changed due to hate speech, because a lot of these channels are using hate speech, literally speaking derogatory about a specific group of people. So to me, it's a verbal hate crime. To me, it's a verbal hate crime, because you cannot vilify people, make up stories, and galvanize people because of their color, creed, or orientation. And these platforms are allowing people to continue with their channels without being banned. They're monetized. It seems like they're monetized, and they're making coins off of other people's pain, and that's wrong. And there's a few channels that we've all discussed, like Chrissy, Cynthia G, Paris Milan, and there's many more, but those are the main ones that I've seen, and I've listened to some of their rhetoric and their hate speech, and I've gotten on their channels and I've told them that I didn't agree with what they were saying. I flagged some of them. When I heard the hate speech, I didn't false flag. It's real flags. Like, I'm documenting what they're saying, I'm time stamping and sending it in, and they're still up. So I think that people need to really be proactive and not just sit there and not doing anything. You can actually flag inappropriate content, and I would ask that you guys do that. If you're not already doing it, if you're doing it, wonderful. If you're not, take a moment to go onto the video and flag it, and let YouTube know, and Twitter know, and TikTok know that these are inappropriate statements. It's bullying, it's hate speech, and it's a crime. So, resolution. What would I like to see? What would be the end game? My first thing is, what I would like to see is we have our own community. That we have safe spaces, like a lot of, like Exotical United said, we need safe spaces. I totally agree with that. I concur. And also we were talking about, and other people were responding to her videos, how about having a mixed heritage month celebration? I think that's needed, because it's like we have to just choose one. Okay, it's Black History Month, so that's the only time we get to celebrate. And then if you're Italian, then maybe you can celebrate the Italian. But you have to keep breaking yourself up into different categories and celebrate all these different things separately, when we should be able to do it collectively as mixed people. And also, I was thinking about having a flag. I think having a flag would be nice. I think somebody else mentioned the same thing. Having a flag with certain colors that identify mixed heritage, mixed people, would be wonderful. Why not? All these other groups have it. Why can't we have it? And I think that if you don't stand for something, as they said, quote unquote, you fall for anything. So we need to stand up for ourselves, really, at the end of the day. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you have any solutions to have a better rapport with monoracial, unambiguous people, let me know on my YouTube channel. I would love to hear what people are thinking, because this is kind of like a think tank thing, because I think we're in a great time right now because we have the numbers. Mixed people are all over the world. I was mentioning this the other day, how if you go to every country has a huge mixed community. The Latino community is, I would say, 80% mixed. The Latino community already has been doing it for many, many years, and they've called themselves mixed. And so, pretty much that's what they consider themselves to be mixed. A lot of Latinos will tell you, yes, I'm mixed with this, I'm mixed with that, and they tell you about the history, and they tell you about the cultures of each person in their family, their mother and father, and they're proud of that. They're very happy to be that. They're not ashamed of it. And I think they're very advanced in doing that. And I've seen other countries have the same mixture. You go to the Middle East, there's a lot of mixture there. And you go to the Caribbean, there's a ton of mixture there. And so we have the numbers. I just feel like people don't know how to bring it all together, collectively, because I think it does need to be a global collective effort to be recognized. That's how you get things done. And I'd like to hear people's opinions about that. Or suggestions. What do you think we could do? Because the way I look at it, if we don't do it, then we're going to be a lost cause. I think we're going to always have this negative image that is being regurgitated by the monoracial, unambiguous people. They keep putting out this negative propaganda about us, and I think it needs to stop. And I'm wondering, what is their end goal? What will be their end goal? And their end goal is to get rid of us, is to stop us from having a say-so, to relegate us to other, and that you're not important because you're not anything. That's what I don't want to happen. So guys, let me know how you feel. Don't be shy. And I want to thank you guys so much for even taking the time to listen to this. It's developing. I'm happy to be able to speak on this subject because it's something I've been holding in for so long, and I never really spoke on it because we've been bullied not to say anything. Don't say anything. Just be quiet. No, just let it slide. Let it go. And look what happened. Look what happened. Now we have tons of anti-mixed, anti-light skin videos and platforms that it's ridiculous how huge that these platforms are. So, and that's a lot of it's our fault because we've allowed it to happen for so long because we didn't want to say anything, But now we have a voice. We have a voice, and we all should speak up and speak out. And guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Stay safe. Bye.